Brian Teacher started playing tennis at the age of 5. He became one of the top juniors in the United States and was the CIF boys singles winner for Crawford High School in San Diego in 1972. He went on to attend UCLA and was a 4-time All-American. He was also a part of the NCAA championship team in 1975 and 1976. Some of his peers reflect on his greatness.
When he was playing great tennis, you could not pass him. You could not break his serve. And yeah, he was so wide, so long. He taught me how to stretch. He taught me how to wrap ankles. He taught me how to train. You know, I'd never hit cross-court forehand volleys for an hour and a half. I've never, you know, that's where Brian was eccentric. Brian was off the charts with his stuff. He would just, you know, his serve, he would practice his serve for 3 hours at a time.
Back in the day, you know, you'd warm up and Brian would come out and, you know, you'd be ready to play, and Brian would take about 25 minutes doing yoga stretches. And that would, you know, take a while, and then usually he was nursing some injury, so there was always something related to that. And it was more than just practice, because you'd end up just enjoying the experience in general.
A spider teach, he'd get up at the net and he would crawl all over it. Couldn't get the ball around him, he couldn't get the ball over him. I admired his discipline, his work ethic on the court, off the court, and he's just a straight up guy, solid individual.
I'll tell you, Brian was one of the best serve and volley players that I had during my era, being that he was about 6'5". You could not pass Brian. He had such great reach in his game.
And Brian Teacher upset Jimmy Connors earlier in the week at the Trans-America Open.
During Teacher's pro career, he won 8 singles titles and 15 doubles titles and reached as high as number 7 in the world in singles. But his most impressive tennis accomplishment for the long-arm lightning server was winning the 1980 Australian Open singles title in straight sets over Kim Warwick.
He played the Australian Open and he just dominated it. Boy, I don't think he lost hardly a set. And at that time, I thought he was one of the top 5 players in the world. Great forehand, great first serves, great forehand volley, good backhand volley, covered the net well, good angle volleys, and of course he was very difficult to lob as well.
I'll never forget when he was just out of college and he played at the LA Tennis Club, and he was playing in the pro tournament there. And he had to play Marty Reeson, who was like an established pro. And I remember I wanted to watch the match because I thought, you know, I think Brian can beat this guy. And Brian blew him off the court, you know, and he just had that ability to just play big man tennis, and he was great at it. You know, if I could just say one more thing about Brian, I mean, as great as his tennis is, he's a top-notch person. I mean, everyone loves Brian, and if you were in trouble, I'd call Brian. I really would.
One match I'll never forget about Brian is I played him in the finals of Newport, and Bud Collins was doing the telecast way up at the top of the stands, and the fog was so dense at one point in time I could barely see Brian serving from the other side, 78 feet away. And all I could hear when Brian hit a ball that was out of my reach was, it sounded like God up in there. You couldn't see him. All you could hear the voices is "Ace" by Brian Teacher. And I said, "Shut up, Brian." But it was, he's a good player. He was a talented guy, and when he was on, he could beat almost anybody.
Brian Teacher is one of the most liked and appreciated people in the game of tennis. His analytical approach to coaching, health, and fitness have been praised and are valued. His talents are truly unique. A Southern California native and a deserving recipient of the Southern California Tennis Association Hall of Fame honor.